From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Brayden Neville.
On today's episode, lineman Brandon Kemp joins the show to discuss re-signing with the Ticats, off-season training, holiday traditions, and more. It's Monday, December 18th, 2023, and you're listening to Ticats Today. Last week, the Ticats announced that lineman Brandon Kemp has re-signed with the team for next season, and joining me is Brandon himself. Brandon, congrats on the new deal, and why was it important for you to get things done here in Hamilton and stick around for another year?
Oh man, well, first of all, it means a lot to me to congratulate me, man. I've come so far in my career, and I guess we just gotta, take the small victories when they come. And being back in the Hammer was awesome. Being able to get that job done as far as the negotiation process, and it's a job. It's a great job done by my agent.
Mm-hmm.
And a huge shout out to Ed, Coach O, and Scott, and those guys were. Man, that negotiation process is a lot. I'll say that, but it was important to me. I wanted to be back in Hamilton. The culture there, the coaches, man, the fans, just my experience over the last year and a half. I mean, I was ecstatic to get that job done. So I'm ready to rock, man. I really am. Yes, sir.
Last season, you had 10 starts on that O-line. What was it like for you to be able to contribute as much as you did in this last year and really improve as a player in the CFL?
Man, so, making the transition to the CFL itself, that's a bit of a deal. So I did get the 10 starts last year. Huge shout out to Coach Gibby, Brandon Revenberg, Chris Lanzau, David Beard, man, Coulter Woodmansey. Man, these guys are a special group. They welcomed me in. They brought me into a foreign environment that was a lot different for me, being away from my family and coming from the National Football League. And when I got to Hamilton, I had only been a pro for 2 years. So coming in, learning how to play Canadian football, it's a little different. It's not much difference, but coming in, learning the different rules and the yard off and understanding, the intricacies and the small details of it. It was a little hump to get over, especially being a young player. But it was fun being out there, man. And those guys, they taught me a lot. So I'm excited to learn from those 10 games. And I'm excited to show my improvement based off those 10 games going into this next season.
A lot of those guys will be returning on the O-line, and one that just re-signed as well last week is Brandon Revenberg. So how was it learning from him and seeing how successful he's been in this league and being able to kind of learn the game the CFL way from him in ways?
Yes, sir. And you mentioned learning the game the CFL way, and I've learned so much more from Rev than just learning how to play ball the CFL way. Just learning how to be a pro, man. And like I said, I'm a younger player, year three now. And Brandon Revenberg, man, the way he handled his business, the way he shows up to work with the passion and the dedication, that experience was awesome. It really was. I got to play about maybe 4 or 5 games with him. My most memorable game had to be the BC game. And that was special. And that was kind of like my coming out party. And, a lot of people had high hopes for me. He's coming from the NFL and, this is a really big kid. What is he going to do? And it was kind of like a wake up call just to kind of actually get out there, get acclimated, and play next to some really special guys like Brandon Revenberg. Man, it was awesome, man. It definitely made the transition a lot smoother. I can tell you that.
I think that game also, that BC game, not only did it was it in a way your coming out party, but it also it kind of turned the ship around for the Ticats at the same time, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tremendously, man. A professional football season is going to be a lot of ups and downs. And the longevity of it is the fact that we have to stay together through those ups and downs. And that BC game was a huge testament to, the sacrifice that we put in during the season, the ups and downs, the injuries, changes with the coaching staff. So to be able to come together like that in such a pivotal part of the season, man, it was awesome. Man, it was awesome. It was fun. I think that was only like my 8th start or something like that, maybe my 7th start.
Yeah.
Before I broke my hand. But man, yeah, that game was awesome. And I'm grateful to have that game under my belt, to go against such great talent and such great competition. And man, that was a great deal. Yeah.
You also got a CFL honor roll nod this season. How did it feel to be recognized by the league and that PFF system?
Yes, sir. So yeah, that was the BC game actually. And man, it was an awesome testament, like I said, to just the sacrifice, to the ups and downs, all the mental battles. Because a lot of people don't know, playing left tackle and right tackle back to back each game, man. That's a tall task. It's a
Yeah.
task that I'm comfortable with, but it's not a task that's easy. And playing left tackle and playing right tackle throughout the season, and being able to be awarded for the BC game for kind of finally kind of showing the world, what I can do and how beneficial I can be as an offensive lineman, and how beneficial I can be to an offensive coordinator and a quarterback to kind of get in your groove and just be dominant, man. So, winning that the highest graded offensive lineman. Huge shout out to my teammates for preparing me that week. And, I was going up against Matthew Betts. And he's a phenomenal competitor. And I'm just able to kind of finally get my feet wet.
You mentioned Mike Gibson at the beginning, but what was he like for your career, and how beneficial was he in terms of your growth in the league?
Yes, sir. Very experienced coach. Coach Gibson, Mike Gibson's been around for a long time. He's had phenomenal players, Chris Van Zyl, Brandon Revenberg, and he's been able to mold players, and he's been able to make their transition smoother, more smooth. And when I came in the end of 2022, this was my very, very first time ever starting in a professional game versus Ottawa in 2022. And Coach Gibson just told me, you're prepared for it. He said, I understand that you're a younger guy and you're in a whole different league now. But he just does a really good job of showing us that we're prepared. He does a really great job of showing us how the process should be as far as scouting, as far as, taking care of your body, camaraderie within the offensive line, because we can't do anything if we're not in unison and we're not together. So, I just feel like Coach Gibson does a great job of bridging the gap, between the guards and the tackles and the Americans and the Canadians, however you may. But, man, he's a great coach. He definitely is.
One guy I wanted to ask you about that you spent some time with in Indianapolis and camps and being around him throughout on that roster is Jordan Murray. What was it like when he came by and when he came back to Hamilton? Was that a guy you had known from your time there in Indianapolis?
Yes, sir. So, before I was a Tiger Cat, I was an Indianapolis Colt.
Yeah.
And Jordan Murray, I met him in Indianapolis, actually. He had just come off a Grey Cup, that I wish he could have won. But he was coming off a Grey Cup, and he got an opportunity to go to the National Football League, from his hard work and from the success that he had in Hamilton. And I built a relationship with him in Indianapolis. And we've been closer since. It's kind of, I guess, ironic and crazy that we ended up back in Hamilton after my departure from the Colts. And it didn't work out with the Colts, and I was a free agent. And I really decided to, take my talents to the CFL, and I thought it would be huge for me. I thought it would be beneficial for me and the Tiger Cats. And when I saw Jordan, man, I see a guy that's working hard, and he's in the middle of his career, and he's only actually not even in the middle. He's not even touching the surface, I would say, because he's a guy like myself, a year 2 player, a year 3 player, still getting acclimated, playing in some really, really big games and playing some really big ball, but. We're just scratching the surface, man. And Jordan, huge shout out to him. We're going to get some work in this offseason. I'm hopefully that we can be able to get him back in the hammer. I know he may have some NFL opportunities or however the free agent goes for him, but man, he's a great, hard-working guy, and I appreciate being around him.
It was such an impact when he came last season. One guy I want to talk to you about he's a veteran of the CFL and a great personality, a leader on and off the field is Joel Figueroa, who will be back next season. But what's it like working with Fig and being around him and seeing his work ethic and his leadership qualities on this team?
Yeah, so, Fig coming in and I realized that we signed him last year. That was awesome for me to learn, from a pro, learn from a left tackle, a solidified left tackle in this league.
Yeah.
And the experience he brings, the experience he brought to that room, man, was pivotal. It really was. And, Fig's been around for 10 years, I think, maybe 11. The COVID deal was a debacle.
Yeah. Messed up everybody, man. Yeah.
But no, Fig's awesome. The way he handles his business, like I said, his process and his regimen, man, that's a big, strong guy. He's not just he doesn't just have good feet. You know,
Yeah.
Figs, he's balanced, he's strong, he's powerful. You know, the game slowed down for him tremendously. And he brings a level of maturity. He brings a level of grit. You know, he's a physical player. And now I'm happy to be back. I know he's been banged up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know he is coming back, so I'm excited. You know, right now I think, shoot, man, I think the only tackles we have inked in the hammer are, you know, Fig, myself, and Kendrick maybe. Man, Fig's awesome, man, and I hope to see him, and I know he will overcome the injuries and get back to being the player that, you know, we saw and the dominant player that he can be in this league.
And he's such a cool guy to be around, and even talking to him, I learn from him every time I talk to him. Whenever I'm interviewing him, or you see him in the press conferences, he knows the game so well. One guy that was a beast this season for the Ticats, and he's been a beast since he's been in the CFL, is JB, the guy behind you running the ball. But how beneficial is it to have a guy like him who can block, who can catch, who can run, who can do it all as your back?
Man, James Butler, the addition of James Butler, man, was the word that I could use was exciting.
Yeah.
Because, you know, being an offensive lineman, man, there's nothing like an explosive running back that's just down to earth, man, and hardworking and humble. You know, JB doesn't want any accolades. You know, JB, he doesn't want all the glamour or whatever, the glit, man, but he will show you that he loves ball. You know, JB will show you that he loves ball. And not only will JB show you that he loves ball, man, but JB will show you that he's dedicated to blocking. As many of you may know, you know, the CFL is a passing league. If you're blessed to have a stout run game, and you're blessed to have, you know, that flowing for your offense, you know, you're going to win a lot of ball games. You know, but 80% of this league is passing. And what James Butler's shown as far as versatility, as far as blocking, as far as, you know, knowing his assignments in the pass game, and then when he gets that ball, you know, we know what happens from there. So
yeah.
It was exciting to not only just block for him, but it was exciting to block for him at left tackle and right tackle. You know, I was able to see, you know, how explosive and how dangerous he could be. And, you know, we actually got close and had a lot of fun doing it.
What's the offseason looking like? Where do you spend your time in the offseason? What's the training like?
Yeah, so for me, man, I'll be here in Atlanta, Georgia. And my main focus and my mindset is to be the best offensive lineman I can be for the Tiger Cats. And that's as far as my mental, that's as far as my strength. You know, I kind of struggled with playing left and right tackle. And I struggled with some technique issues. So, you know, my main focus for this offseason is to come back with those 10 games under my belt and to really show improvement. So I'll get with my my offensive line guy here at Velocity. Huge shout out to Luke and Josh at Velocity up in Kennesaw, Georgia. And I'll go through an offensive line regimen. And this offseason will be a little different for me because it's not so much uncertainty. I was grateful to be able to sign and get back in the hammer, you know, before January, before this crazy free agency hits. And I can really, really focus on my regimen. And I can honestly, truly, you know, go into this 2024 season with just a better mindset, a more positive mindset. And I would say a little bit more of a chip and a little bit more confidence just due to the fact that, you know, that's not the football that I wanted to show last year. You know, it was okay. it was some good ball. And, you know, we won some games, man, but you know, my goal is to really, really show the world and show my team that I can be more dependable. I can be more versatile. And I want to be more of a leader. And I want to show the guys that, you know, this is not just a young kid who's, you know, a talented young kid and he's a project. I want to show these guys that I can be solidified and honestly show my impact. So it's going to be a big offseason for sure.
Aside from the football aspect, what are you doing for fun this offseason? What are you doing on your downtime, especially during this holiday season we have coming up here?
Yes, sir. Well, actually, I'm a new father, first-time father.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. I just had a beautiful daughter, Peyton, and my fiance and I, we'll just be here. We'll be in Atlanta, just doing the parent thing. You know, it's new to us, but it's been fun. It's been an awesome journey. We've learned so much about each other and about being parents. So, we're going to be hanging out, man. I have a really, really large family, close-knit family. So yeah, those would be the majority of my hobbies. You know, my daughter, I got my PlayStation 5, cute, a cute little apartment here in Atlanta. So we're doing it, man.
What games you been playing on the PS5?
Just Madden. I'm not really a big gamer, but I love ball, man, and I don't even just love ball. I love football. So I can't even really get into the 2K and the MLB or whatever, and the Call of Duties and stuff like that. So I get on and I try to get competitive in the Madden.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and I mainly use my game for like YouTube and Netflix, to be
For sure.
honest. Yes,
For sure.
sir.
Anything you've learned about being a parent that you didn't know going in now that you're a father?
Patience is
Yeah.
a virtue. Patience is a virtue. I knew how important patience was, but I didn't know that I would need a lot more of it.
I mean, that's
um,
fair enough.
and just the dedication, man. I'm dedicated to my career, and having a child shows you a different level of dedication. And it's been awesome. It's been
Yeah.
awesome. I'm just looking forward to progress.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, hey, I'm glad that you're going to be back here in the Hammer, and I appreciate you joining me today. I know you're a busy guy. So, once again, Brandon Kemp, we will be back for the 2024 season, and we will see you at the training camp come May. So, thanks again, man, for joining me today.
Man, thank you. Thank you, Brayden. I really appreciate you. Let's go get a cup, man.